think, well, okay, here's Ripley again fighting the alien. But you're going to be swept away by Ripley in this film, even more so than the first two.
And you watch some of the playbacks on the video, and you think, Jesus, she's got a lot of talent and of technique.
I think she was always clearly defined as being someone with a slight, initially, superiority complex, who then, you know, has to grasp and grapple with reality and survive it.
I don't think of her as this brave, strong person. I think that women in general are incredibly strong. I just think of her as an ordinary person who is thrust into these extraordinary circumstances.
From the alien spaceship in the first movie to the nest on planet LB-426 in the second movie, artist H.R. Giger has redefined the look of the future.
The sets themselves were a recreation, pretty much, of Giger's artwork, his mind, his vision.
My paintings always look like plans for three-dimensional things. So it was, in a way, close to do something for a movie. And I think the movie this century is more important than paintings.
To me, the anchor to all the three movies is Giger. I honestly believe that a little bit of Giger will transform you inside.
Well, I think each film of the Alien series has not been what people think the future is going to be. I mean, after 2001, everyone thought everything was going to be like that, and Ridley, in fact, made it sort of down and dirty. And Cameron kept to that tradition to a certain extent. You know, the roughness of space.
Famed British production designer Norman Reynolds provides the design expertise to the sets of Alien 3.
This set really has evolved over a period of time. It's in the future, yet it has a lot of the present and some of the past in it too. The trick, I think, really for me, or the difficulty has been, just part of this challenge, is to make the thing look interesting, not overtly sort of science fiction, but to give it a look of its own. One of David's thoughts was, what he was looking for was something where you throw in a bucket of water and just hose the place down, the entire planet.
It seems that it's kind of consistent with the other two in that it's, you know, uncomfortable and dark and claustrophobic, and, you know, there's kind of, you know, the same kind of motifs like, you know, liquid and acid and, you know, hostile.
This movie is so gothic in terms of the setting, the sets. This is the most gothic place I've ever been. I've never seen anything like this set.
This set here is the ventilation shaft set. And this is the alien seems to like getting down in these little corridors and ductings and hiding away.
Anyone who has anything to do with that particular scene needs a storyboard. It's a way of communicating to everybody what the director's wishes are.
Maggie! You found it?
The unique visual style and the settings of all three Alien movies certainly changed the look of science fiction forever. But the most unforgettable contribution to the nightmares of the audience is its namesake. H.R. Giger's futuristic lithographs of a biomechanical creature were just the inspiration director Ridley Scott needed for Alien.
His whole idea was that the thing had such a short life, and it would get darker. The skin would start to get darker as it progressed because it was bruising. And that's why its obsession with having to lay its seed so that it could reproduce, because it knew that it wouldn't have a long enough lifespan.
Director Jim Cameron and producer Gail Ann Hurd had a different approach in Aliens.
We came up with the idea that it could be analogous to a termite or a bee colony or hive, and that allowed for the fact that there could be not only a life cycle that had three different factors, but also the idea that there was the biggest, baddest alien of all was the Queen Mother.
Now in Alien 3, David Fincher and Sigourney Weaver have the chance to further the evolution of the alien and come up with new ways to terrorize and thrill alien fans.
So I wanted to go back to the mystery of having one alien, which Fincher had already decided to do, but he did want a creature that we'd never seen before. This thing that moves so fast and is so voracious and destructive. It's just blinding.
Special effects designers Alec Gillis and Tom Woodruff, along with visual effects creator Richard Edlund, worked closely with David Fincher to bring the next generation alien to life.
Giger designed the alien for the first picture. It underwent a little bit of a transformation when Cameron did Aliens. And now Fincher doing Alien 3, it underwent yet another little transformation.
He kept referring to it as a freight train crossed with a Jaguar. You know, it's just something that was just fast and killing, and it would always get its prey, and they'd play with it or toy with it a little bit, but ultimately it would never come back empty-handed from any kind of a confrontation.
Forced us to create a technology to handle Fincher's demands. We came up with this technique called motion, which involves a motion-controlled robotic camera that you can quickly set up on the stage and shoot on the sets, and then you can put the alien as a separately photographed creature into another scene.
We have a head that we call our attack head, which is a pneumatically controlled device that fires a heavy polyester resin tongue out of the head and is what actually punches holes in our artificial heads to actually do away with the aliens' victims.
What we're doing is creating a false head. I'll tell you what we're doing. You might want to close your eyes now. Your ears.
Head casting can be a frightening experience if you're claustrophobic. So we usually sit them down and explain the process.
You'll feel the plaster bandage heating up through the alginate, but that's a normal part of the procedure. We use a dental impression-making material called alginate, which is then reinforced with plaster bandage so that it holds its shape. Step away and let it completely harden, and then we'll pop you out of this thing.
Yep, there you go. Good. Perfect.
We can set them up on our rigs, and you can graphically see the blood flying and skull breaking and so on.
It's a lot of fun, isn't it, Charles?
As well as defining the visual style of the Alien series, Ridley Scott and James Cameron each gave their movies a different personality. Now David Fincher is adding his unique signature.
Fincher didn't really have the job yet, and he said, well, how do you feel about her being bald?
This entire planet that we're inhabiting is infested with lice.
So people have to have their hair cut extremely short if not shaved.
I am bald anyway, so I probably just fitted into what he wanted.
You get a different kind of respect for that town, I tell you.
I looked at one of the studio heads and I said, well, of course, if I'm bald, I have to get more money.
This part's too long.
And action! David Fincher is a genius, basically, for whom I would jump off London Bridge. I trust him implicitly. I mean, I stand awestruck, actually, watching Fincher work. He is extraordinary.
I don't know where a young guy with such an instinct for scenes, where did he come from?